Do you know who your supply boss is in your troop? Hey, ScouterStan, want to talk a little bit about the supply boss, known as the quartermaster of your troop. Now, before we get into that, I want to personally invite you to attend our live show that we do on the first Sunday of each month. We have one coming up. Check the date. It's going to be October 2nd, and it'll be 9 o'clock in the evening, so it'll be a nice quiet time, and you could ask questions and we can interact and talk. So this is something we can do, and that's a wonderful thing. And I also want to thank all of my Patreons that get to watch these before you do for their continuing financial support. That is really appreciated. It helps put food on the table. Okay, that is one of those wonderful things. But that being the case, I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to join us on the channel or Patreon. So whatever you prefer. Those are the wonderful things. There's perks for both. Okay, so look into it, find out, and I would appreciate that support. Now let's dive directly into the quartermaster duties. The quartermaster team, yes, team is vital. It's youth that are directly responsible for the equipment and the keep of that equipment, the maintenance of that equipment, to make sure that it is checked in and checked out. We're going to get into that. But I think that it's more than just one person. It has to be, regardless of the troop size, it needs to be more than two. Okay, so it's a quartermaster team. Now, some of these positions are elected, some of them are appointed. It really depends on what the troop wants to do, as far as what the scoutmaster is familiar with, whether the size is, and making sure that everyone has a task and a job and a responsibility. Now, the quartermaster quartermaster team needs that inventory. They need a list of all of their equipment and its condition. That is very important. And they will often be working with an assistant scoutmaster, and somebody from the troop committee will also be involved. So that is a critical, what they call the key three, as far as equipment. You got to make sure that you have the youth running that's the quartermaster, and then you have an assistant scoutmaster that's helping mentor and coach that quartermaster team. And then of course you have to have the committee. The committee's the ones with the check. If the equipment needs to be replaced, that's where that full trinity actually occurs. Now, another critical thing that a lot of quartermasters tend to need a little of assistance, coaching from adult leaders, is when they are checking out equipment and when they are bringing equipment back in. That is very important. So when each patrol will have somebody that's in charge of equipment that will go get the tents, that will go get the dining fly, that will go and get these things checked out from the quartermaster. So there can be some structure there. In fact, I'm going to put some links right down there. There's a thing that says more, and when you click on that, a whole list of stuff will come up there. I do a lot of research, okay, on these videos, and I put those links in the videos so that you can pull those up too. There are manuals on how all this works. It is amazing how important this job really is within your troop. And it's not always just a troop. It might be a ship, okay, if you're in Sea Scouts. It might be a crew if you're in venturing. So these are things that you guys need to work out. As far as the adult leadership, you need to have that quartermaster team working. Now, a lot of times they will identify items. So many spoons are in the mess kit, so many containers, fry pans, cutting boards, all that stuff needs to be accounted for. You don't want to be on your camp out and not have it. So that's very important to make sure that it is in good condition. Nothing is worse than having to clean before you can use it. Okay, you want to make sure it's nice and clean so it just gets it used when it's needed. Okay, when it's ready. Okay, if it's got last month's meal still charred on the inside of the container, it's going to make it very hard to be on time with your next meal plan, because you got to clean that. I mean, that's something that the quartermaster makes sure is not occurring, that the equipment is clean when it's put away so that it can be used right away. So that's critical to keeping your equipment in good working order. Now the same is true when you're looking at tents. Tents wear out. Grommets tear away from the material, or a pole gets bent or broken, or the end of it comes off. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with a tent. Everything from the zipper being torn out to tears, burn holes. I've seen some pretty mangled tents. That's purely because of scouts being scouts. Okay, it's amazing the things that have happened. But those damages need to be noted. Okay, and so that they can be replaced or repaired before your next camp out. And it's always important that your quartermaster has backups. So if something was to happen to a tent, they need to have another tent available within the equipment. So there should always be something on standby. And that also needs to have maintenance of. So checking the equipment in and out and making sure that it's in good working order is very important. Now, one of the primary things that a quartermaster is responsible for is to make sure that the equipment is checked out and checked back in good condition. This is important that they get not only the name, okay, but they also need a signature and a date so that you know where this stuff is. These are assets of the troop, so you need to have an idea of where they are. That is very critical to making sure that you get your equipment back so that it can be used again. So that's very, very important. As adult leaders, we need to make sure that our quartermasters are able to make sure that they keep good records that are not lost. Okay, that's very important, that stuff is kept safe as far as the records are concerned, so that when something does go missing, you know who to talk to. Now, it does happen. Okay, Scout is trustworthy, and sometimes equipment might get lost. Okay, that's a terrible thing, because now you got to raise money to replace it. It's a terrible thing, but the nice thing is that you know about it. It's not like it's hidden. Okay, at least you know about getting an extra tent. That could be that simple. It could be just that simple to get an extra tent. So working with your quartermaster, your scoutmaster, your assistant scoutmaster, and your committee member that's in charge of equipment, that also could be the treasurer. So that's really the three people that are involved with this critical role within a troop. And of those three, the two adults work with the Quartermaster Team. That's very important. They are the leadership. We need to put that leadership role on them so that they can succeed. Now I'm going to do something a little unique. I want you to go to that link, okay? And that's going to take you to another video that talks about the role of the quartermaster. Now, of course, quartermaster is just like all the other appointed or elected positions within the troop. They have to maintain their uniform. They have to live by the Scout Oath and Scout Law. They need to show Scout spirit. These are the things that the youth need to do. as adults, we need to do the same. Okay, so we need to keep those things consistent. We need to lead by example, not be the exception. That's critical. So go to that link, and that link will give you the general video about the quartermaster position. Now, a lot of times, a good quartermaster will have that equipment, have that stuff ready, so that when you go on those adventures with the troop, okay, as an adult leader, you go on that troop and they have a great time out there. They don't see these things that are happening in the background. They don't know about it. Most of the youth in the unit, they're out there camping. They don't see all of the work that the quartermaster does. So we need to make sure they get recognized. So that is very important. And as an adult leader, I know you recognize them, and I know you work with them, and I know that you are there to mentor and guide them and to coach them when they need help. That is something we do as scout leaders. And these quartermasters are awesome. If you got a good one, you want to keep them. You want to keep them for a long time, especially if you got somebody that's on the ball and keeps good records and really communicates back and forth with the troop through the adult coaches and assistant scoutmaster. A lot of times I just call them coaches. But this is a critical position. A lot of troops don't know how important a quartermaster really is. And I want to make sure that you know that. Okay? So just keep up that good work that I know you do. And I will see you fully equipped on the trail.